Trick's got a qualifier next week, doesn't he?
Yes, he has a qualifier.
Oh, please.
Here in a few days.
Wrestling gods, please, if you're listening, let Tricky 2 times. Let Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers.
I think he's going to be in the chamber. I don't think we had to worry about that. I don't even know if I should bring this up. Did you see the Kevin Nash stuff?
No.
With Javon Evans? Oh, baby. Kevin Nash is talking about Javon, and it's not good. It's not good.
Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeener, this WrestleMania is honestly feeling a little bit weird to me. I'm not entirely sure if the sentiment is shared with you or shared with our listeners, but the build for one match has been okay. And I say that with all due respect to how great the promo was, but the lack of Roman, in my opinion, is really starting to show. And it feels like we are holding over. Even with the Judgment Day stuff, which I think is cool, I think it feels kind of odd. And WrestleMania itself feels a little odd, but we'll talk about that. But before we talk about any of that, how you doing, brother?
As you know, not feeling the greatest, but that's okay. This isn't ballet. Show must go on, all those things they say in wrestling. So I'm here ready to go. Feeling better than I was a couple hours ago. So trending the right direction.
Well, yeah. Look, sleep helps when you can get it. When you can't sleep, that sucks. That is the worst. So I totally understand, man. My day has been freaking dumb. Like, it's just been a dumb day. I took the day off work because for 2 weeks now, our shower in our upstairs bathroom has not been getting water pressure the way that it's supposed to. So little, in fact, that you can't turn the shower on, right? So we've been freaking bird bathing for like 2 weeks now, right? And I've called 2 different plumbers, and one guy came by the house, assessed the situation, said he was going to buy parts, to do the job, right? Dude never came back. Like, he never came back. I've texted him. It's been a week now, and I have heard nothing from him. I genuinely hope he's okay because it's really weird, right? And I've used him before, so I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. But we called another guy. I'm working on him since Monday, right? And he was supposed to come by Monday, and he wasn't able to come by Monday he's got caught on his job or something like that. So he ended up coming by today because I took the day off because, we are recording today, and tomorrow I have a dentist appointment, and then Friday I was going to have him come by, but apparently he goes to this one special place to get parts, and if he went by there on Friday, he wouldn't be able to go by on Saturday to pick the parts up, right? Because the place is closed on Saturday. Okay. So I made the decision this morning to take the day off work, use some of my paid time off so that he could come by here, assess his situation, right? Go get the stuff, and then he can come by maybe Friday and do the work, right? So dude says he's going to show up at like noon. He shows up at like 12:48, right?
Hey, listen.
Yo,
I was supposed to have a guy show up today, and he didn't show up at all. So
he's like my first. He's like my first guy.
You're in a better spot than me.
Yeah, he's like the first plumber we called.
Oh, I can. We'll talk about this off air, but I can bitch about this forever because our basement is still not done, and yeah.
Yikes!
I was thinking your guy wasn't going to show up. Hey, 48 minutes. That's great.
Oh no, it doesn't stop there. So he goes to get the part, right? He calls me, and he's like, "Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news." Okay, the good news is they got the part. Okay, what's the bad news? They got to order it. That means they don't have the part, dude. Like, they got to order it. Okay, when's the part going to come in? Oh, it's going to come in Monday. Dude, if it was going to come in Monday, we could have done all this Friday. I didn't have to take the day off work. Like, I work hard to earn these paid days off. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I traded one in so we could get this done. And listen, I've been balancing all day my frustrations with realistic expectations, right? Like, I was frustrated, but I understand he didn't know. He didn't know that part wasn't going to be there. So, I've been balancing my frustrations. I've been playing some Marvel Rivals, and I've been trying to balance my frustrations there because people are insane. And I've been trying to balance my frustrations with WrestleMania because things happen. People get injured, plans have to change, but it has just been seeming like a strange WrestleMania 42 feel. Have you been feeling that same thing, Skeeter, in general?
It's definitely one where we know less about the plans far in advance, which has been a little bit of a change, especially from the past few. I think WrestleMania 40 was such like a series finale feel
Yeah.
that if you don't have all that stuff lined out and can't see and read the tea leaves as well, it feels a little underwhelming. I get that.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I think I think it'll heat up after Elimination Chamber. That's the thing is we've got this PLE which is next weekend, so we got about 10 days, 10 11 days until that, and I think we're still more focused on that, and then once that clears, we'll have a bigger picture.
yeah. Well, listen, we will get into all that because we're going to probably cover SmackDown and Raw relatively quickly because I do want us to have a conversation about WrestleMania this year. And not
Okay.
just me coming to Milwaukee, which I have to get my tickets, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the whole idea about WrestleMania because it feels weird to me, and we'll get into that. But before we get into that, welcome everyone to the Lariat Lounge. If you're new here, we are happy that you are here. This is an international podcast. We are listened to throughout the country, all around the world, and that's not just me saying that. The analytics are saying that. So I appreciate you guys showing up. We really do. Skeeter, can you please let our friends know where they can let their new friends know where they can listen to the Lariat Lounge?
The Lariat Lounge. This podcast is coming at you once a week, every week on all your favorite podcast platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Wherever your favorite shows are, we are there, and that's where you will find us. We are over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. You can interact with us. Feel free to send us a DM. I'll check those whenever we get them. Anything you're feeling, let us know. Same thing goes over at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
We really do appreciate it. And listen, if you're enjoying this podcast, if you are feeling the love from Skeeter showing up as sick as he is to do this podcast today, leave us a like rating wherever it is that you're listening. It's genuinely a small thing for you. It's free, but for us, it means the world. So we really do appreciate it. This is going to be a tight episode because I want to get Skeeter back into bed. I want to get him back healthy. So enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So Skeeter, I want to jump right onto this idea of WrestleMania, okay? And I feel like that will weave in what it is that we've been getting over on SmackDown and Raw because I think there was a point that you made in the opening of the show that was very salient and very relevant. And that is due to situations as they've been playing out, we really don't have a clear vision of what WrestleMania can be shaping up into at this point, mid-February of 2026. And so we've got a lot of waiting to do still with regards to the second main event for night one, presumably, because I'm sure Punk and Roman are going on as the main event of night two. So where we land with the night one main event, what does the rest of the card look like? Because genuinely speaking, we have no idea at this point what that card is shaping out for, except for possibly Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, because it seems like they're going hard in the paint in that direction with some of the promos and backstage segments that they've been doing. And they haven't announced it officially yet, but it looks like we're going in that direction. But I saw something earlier this week, and it was very interesting, right? So apparently there is a bit of a kerfuffle in Las Vegas. And there are apparently multiple venues in Las Vegas who are upset. Now, ask me why they're upset, Skeeter.
Why are they upset?
They're upset because WWE this year have prohibited venues outside of where WrestleMania is being held from broadcasting WrestleMania. Now, why have they done that? They did it because they want only WrestleMania to be viewed live. Why? Because their ticket sales currently are abysmal. Now, I heard this earlier this week. I looked it up right before we came in, right? As of mid-February, WrestleMania 42 sales are struggling with approximately 36,000 tickets distributed over both nights currently sold right now. That is 10,000 tickets fewer than where they were for WrestleMania 41. And are you ready for this one? 60,000 tickets less than where they were for WrestleMania 40 this same time in 2024. So you've got declining ticket sales year after year, a big drop from 40 to 41, right? And now you're seeing declining sales from 41 to 42. There's a lot of things that are going into I believe, these numbers, right? One, going back to Vegas a second time, I think part of the allure with WrestleMania is the fact that WrestleMania goes from location to location every year. And when WrestleMania was originally announced, 42 was announced for New Orleans. And then they pulled New Orleans and they decided to go back to Vegas. And it wasn't because New Orleans couldn't do it. New Orleans had accepted. But WWE pulled it and decided to send it back to Vegas. Why? Because they can make a lot of money in Vegas. And so they took the show away from New Orleans and they took it back to Vegas. Vegas is an expensive place to be. It's an expensive place to stay. And I feel like it's probably pricing a lot of people out, right? You've got that. You've also got, apparently, WWE and TKO are also practicing with dynamic pricing for their tickets. So you know what that is, a Skeens of dynamic pricing?
Yes, I am aware.
Okay, so for the people in the back who don't know, dynamic pricing is when, based on when you buy a ticket, where you buy your ticket from, the prices will vary. That's the nutshell, easy to swallow version of that. So there's no telling what your ticket prices are going to be. There's no standardized price for these tickets, depending on where you live, depending on when you buy your tickets, and probably depending on if you buy tickets for night 1 and night 2 or just one of the nights, the prices will change. It makes it difficult for people to plan in this economy how they're going to pay to go to WrestleMania, right? That's another thing. There's a third thing that I heard that I don't think is really playing into this, but it speaks to my genuine concerns. So, you can't, most of the time when you get like tickets for WrestleMania now, you don't get a paper ticket.
Yes.
It'll be electronic.
Yeah.
Do you know how much WWE and TKO are charging you if you want to get a paper ticket printed? Like for keepsakes or
is it like does it come in like, because when I went to 31 and did the travel package, I got like this big, not big, but like a collector's thing you can hold on to. And
now when you say you collector's
special
thing, what do you mean by like a collector's thing? What do you mean by that?
Like it came in a branded like little ticket box, and the tickets were kind of like, special looking. You can keep them and display them.
Okay. How much did you pay for that?
Well, I think that was WrestleMania 31. I think that's just how we got the tickets.
Oh, I got you. Okay, fair enough.
You bought the travel package in October, and then it just showed up in like February or so.
Yeah. You know how much you pay for a paper that printed ticket now? It's an additional $100. It's an additional $100 on top of your ticket price to have a keepsake. I think you paired all of this stuff, right, together. And WWE is essentially pricing out large swaths of their audience that would have wanted to come to a WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, I feel fortunate that we went when we went to WrestleMania 40, because I agree with you. That felt like a culmination of events, right? And it was just a great, huge mania to go to. WrestleMania 41 and WrestleMania 42 have been back to back in Las Vegas, right? And you've seen this significant dip that went from 2024 to 2025. That's WrestleMania 40 to 41. And then you see a dip again currently from 41 to 42. They're both in Vegas. I'm wondering if a lot of this ticket sales issues that they're having right now is this aggressive strategy by TKO to make as much money as they can, even if that means that they're going to price out a significant portion of their audience. And I wonder, is it working? But your thoughts, Skeener, on this dip in WrestleMania sales from mid-February to mid-February to mid-February of 24 to 25, a huge one, then to 26, and all of these practices that TKO and WWE have been putting into place with regards to their cost, their strategy, and their overall approach to premium live events.
I mean, I don't think you have to wonder if that's what's happening to the ticket sales, because what you laid out pretty much does impact it. I think back-to-back Vegas hurts. Part of the allure, at least I'm sure for some people with WrestleMania, was it's a different venue every year. You can go, or, even if they go back to the same one, it hasn't been back-to-back since very early, since 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Or so. So, that's a little bit of it. There's economic stuff. I mean, you're right. Vegas is expensive. I don't know if, you're not going to get a lot of repeat. You're probably searching for new people. And you're right. I mean, TKO has just taken the strategy that we are going to not necessarily price the tickets and price the experience to move the maximum amount of tickets and fill up a building, but to make it a premium event and make the most money. And it sucks a little bit. I mean, I think if WWE did not have a TKO and a board above them, I truly believe that would not be the focus and the strategy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's sad. It sucks, especially for people that, would have gone but are priced out. But yeah, it sucks. As far as the blackout goes on showing it, doesn't really bother me too much. I get why businesses are upset, but this is classic. I think the MLB still does it. I know the NFL still does it, where if the event is not sold out or the game is not sold out, they will black out broadcasts within a certain region. And it's even worse because, I mean, you can get around it with, your MLB packages and your NFL Sunday ticket and stuff now, but you used to, if you were in the area and the game wasn't sold out, sorry, you just don't get to watch your team. They won't show it on CBS or Fox.
Yeah.
I think is it weird to do that with an entertainment product? Yeah, a little bit, but it's also you're not blacked out. You can watch it other ways, the normal ways. You just can't go to what they used to call the blast areas and watch it with your buddies. And I don't know how big of a thing that is anymore. I'm sure there's some people that do it, but I can't say I've ever done that. I know this is getting off your topic, but that's a strange way to experience wrestling for me, is in that sports go to a bar setting. I've never done that. Have you?
No, I haven't. Right. But in my mind, when I pictured a future where the Lariat Lounge had an audience that was, willing to travel for a Mania to hang out with us, my thought was not to do it the way that Ring Rust did it. Shout out to Ring Rust Radio. And not because I thought that was a bad idea. I think it was a great idea. But I also think that had we not been the individuals that we are, let's just shoot it straight, to be able to put together the money that we did collectively, right? We could not have experienced WrestleMania 40 the way that we did. For those who are unaware and have not been listening since the first episode, shame on you. But we went to WrestleMania 40 as a group along with the Ring Rust Radio podcast. That's how Skeener and I met. And a lot of the guys who we call friends, we met through that podcast. And we all went collectively to WrestleMania 40. And we pulled our money through Leon CK. and he is an event planner. And Leon pulled his event planner card and got us into one of the event skyboxes. So we were all able to sit together, hang out together, talk together, eat together, laugh together, and watch WrestleMania 40, which at this point I feel like is probably one of, if not arguably, the best WrestleMania. We got to do that together. That was hella expensive, okay? That was expensive. If we ever had a congregation of people who wanted to come hang out with us, ideally, Skeeter, what I would have loved to have done, let's say we use Vegas as a backdrop. I would have loved to have gone to one of these local establishments, right? And partnered with them in order to host a WrestleMania watch party where we go there, we have a section of the, of the place, blocked off. And it's for our people who show up and they've got WrestleMania on the screen. You can order drinks and food and we can hang out, maybe even like do a live stream of our reactions, right? That's in my mind what I would have loved to have done. But the fact that you can't do that here, it's weird to me as well, but not for the same reason. I get what you're saying when you have like sports events, like NHL that you were stating before, right? Where all the ticket sales weren't sold for the stadium or the arena where they were playing.
And what you're talking about is slightly different. Like I get it with a specific pre-planned large group of people are somewhat like-minded. I just meant like, if there's a game I want to watch or something on a Sunday or a
I'm not just going to the bar by myself to watch the game like that. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
no. But see, I think, and that's the reason why I think this is a big deal for Mania, right? Because people come to this destination for WrestleMania, and look, WrestleMania comes to that location for WrestleMania. It's not like when you go to a freaking Bruins game, right? And you're going to the city where the Bruins play, right? You're going to a place that WWE pitched to the location as something that is going to be a boom in revenue and business for your city, right? You go to Vegas. Does Vegas not have their hotels stocked up multiple times during the year for events anyway, right? So it's not like you're selling
my wife and I will be out there the weekend after WrestleMania. So
yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
we gotta get our tickets and stuff soon too.
So it's not like Vegas has a problem filling their hotels with people multiple times throughout the year, right? For multiple different events. You have celebrities that do residencies there, that do shows there. You've got the freaking Rams in Vegas now, right? This is a place that is not lacking of draw to that area, right? But what does WrestleMania bring to the area? Well, aside from the WWE experience, I don't know if it's even called that anymore. Is it still called? No, it's WWE World. You've got WWE World, right? And when we went to 40 in Philly, they had the Hard Rock that was across the street, and they were hosting, things there.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't showing the show there, right? But they hosted multiple little things there, right? That was the Hard Rock. And they brought people in to the area. I guess you had some hotel sales and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that TKO was doing the same thing then. I just wasn't aware of it. But this to me just seems weird. It just seems weird. It seems like an odd practice to do if you promise the city that you're going to bring this type of revenue to their space, right? And it just makes me wonder if TKO's aggressive strategy, their aggressive finance positive strategy is working for them. And I think every business is supposed to be out to make money. That is their fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to maximize profit and reduce overhead. Totally understand that part. But when you're weighing money-making ventures versus other money-making ventures, there are some that make more money better than others. And I'm just wondering if you're looking at WrestleMania 40 and this time 2 years ago, you had a record-selling 90,000 plus tickets sold on the first day that the tickets went available, right? And 2 years later, you're down to 36,000 tickets across both nights. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about roughly like 18,000 tickets per night. That is insane. That is an insane drop off. You know what I mean? And it's like, I have to wonder if with your main event being Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, I'm not Seth Rollins, that would be great. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, night 2. And this being potentially a move that WWE made because people are injured. You had to make changes, right? Your storytelling that you've been trying to build over a course of some time, you've had to deviate from because people are hurt. People get hurt. Things happen. I understand. To that point, I'm not blaming WWE. You got to do what you got to do, right? And I don't think anybody could suspected that Braun Breaker was going to pull a hernia flipping an announce table.
Yeah.
But he did, right? And so there's some other plans that you gotta deviate. And I get it. But when you take those things, these big draws that people were really looking forward to seeing, at least they invested their time in, and now your card seems to be in flux actively, right? And you're trying to make things make sense. You're not laying out any of the breadcrumbs as early as you maybe would like. And then you couple that with these not great ticket sales 2 months out. Could we be looking at, Skeena, the first WrestleMania in a long time that is lackluster, that does not break a record? I mean, I think they fluff them numbers every time they get on stage and be like, we broke a new attendance record. But like, I don't know if you're going to be able to swing this one, brother. Like, you were in Vegas last year.
Yeah, especially since it's the same place.
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, I think it's simple. I mean, I think TKO's fucking it up right now.
Yeah.
But they have, this is a lot of non-wrestling folks getting involved in running and trying to make these kind of decisions for the biggest wrestling company on the planet.
Yeah.
And they were bound to fuck up at some point. And I think things will get back to quote unquote normal here in a couple years. I mean, obviously next year is going to be a special case as well, but yeah, they're just screwing it up. I think they just, made an incorrect prediction on how a second time in Vegas would play out.
Yeah.
And how the pricing and things would play out. It's just that wrestling, it's always cyclical. There's always high points and low points with the company, and it always swings back and forth. And we're at such a high a couple years ago that, it was probably going to come down a little bit in total interest and, just how hot in general WWE is. Doesn't mean I think it's bad or worse. It's just that's the general perception.
Sure.
And I think they just overplayed that hand a little and are suffering for it. But, I guess the good way to look at it is they are suffering for it, which means they probably, if they're smart, won't mess up the same way twice. So
yeah.
We'll see.
We
we'll
will
see how it goes.
We will. Now, just to be clear, because I'm not aware, or maybe I am and I've just forgotten. Have they already announced where 43 is going to be?
You're really going to make me do this and get this reaction out of you?
I think I already know now that you said that. Because like I said, I think I just forgot.
Okay. Yeah.
But so, yes, it's Saudi Mania.
Yes.
Okay,
Next year's Saudi Mania.
So here's the thing. Is it really going to be received as a mistake? So I'm almost having to look at WWE now the way I look at politicians, right?
This year, yes.
You know what I mean? It's like,
if they sell demonstrably less tickets this year, yeah, they'll get the message.
Listen, they may, but that's the point I'm making is if they go to Saudi next year and they make more money at Saudi Mania than they did at 40, I think that they will wash 41 and 42 under the bus. I think they will just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, you know what, acceptable loss. And they will retool their strategy to send more PLEs overseas. They will probably lean more into Saudi events as their big money makers. It'll turn into Black Friday, right? Where it's like they'll recoup all of their losses for the year.
If the Saudi events are their big money makers, it's not because of travel and ticket sales. It's because of the payment they get from the PIF in order to do it. So
totally
I think that's
understand.
a little bit of a different case. I do think 44 has a good chance to be international.
So
I
you
think
go that's
44.
44 after 43. So we'll have two international rape manias back to back.
I think it's possible. I
I
think it's
don't
possible they
disagree, and
do London or Toronto.
I don't disagree.
They just announced today we're getting Clash in Milan. So we get the first PLE from Italy here this year.
Listen. On one hand, I am totally in support. I am totally in support of more demos around the world getting WrestleMania. It's a global company, and as fans, I want the fans to be able to experience these things firsthand. I also think this is all by design, right? If you look at all the things that have been laid out, right? You've got dynamic pricing. So there's no set price that you can count on for these tickets. If you think for 1 second that when Saudi Mania comes around next year, that those ticket sales per seat are going to be out of the effing roof, if you don't think that those prices are going to be stupid high, I would check your pulse because you might be dead. And
I'm interested to see how that works and how many people are going to travel and if there will be some sort of, I guess, local pricing structure to encourage a full arena there. Because, like I said, I don't think they're trying to make money on sales and travel there. I think they've made the money with the contract they have.
I so
So
I don't
I'll be interested to see how it plays out. How
so,
many tickets are available and stuff like that.
so I don't disagree with you. But here's the thing that I just thinking about global travel, right? From what I have heard, places like Dubai are extremely expensive. They are expensive in the way that Vegas is, but more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
they announced, I assume it's in Riyadh, right?
I'm assuming so, right? But I'm also
I mean, the
assuming,
only other place they've done is Jeddah, which
sure,
is the
true. But I
their
would think that
second
with
biggest
that
city.
stadium that they've got,
Yeah,
that they
it's
just
Riyadh.
built, you know what I mean? That they're going to take Mania there, right?
I
I
think
just
they're
think,
probably going to try to build a bigger stadium.
listen, let me tell you something. If they've just got money just to build another stadium in a year
They
for
do. Like,
WrestleMania,
they
I mean, I know they
definitely
do.
do.
I'm saying that rhetorically.
Yeah.
But like, if they've got that kind of money, I don't think they're concerned with making the ticket prices affordable. Like, I don't think you've got a population of people who are coming to those shows that are struggling with funds. Not like people are here in
No,
the
but I
States.
do think I do think from the Saudi Arabia PIF perspective, it would pay for them to have a full arena of native citizens
I think they will.
in terms of what they're doing, which is why I think things may be different next year because of what it is. Because the money's been made for the company, and then your business partner in the Saudi PIF has its own goals to worry about.
I'm just looking up something real quick. Let's see.
What are you trying to look up here?
I'm looking up what the average prices were for the Royal
For the
Rumble this
Rumble?
year.
Yeah.
So, from what I'm gathering, ticket prices ranged from $200 to $1,000 a seat, with premium options exceeding $5,000 to $8,000. Those
See,
prices are
see,
ridiculous.
I'm seeing that if for local people they were buying general admission for $20.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
General
which is
admission
what
prices
more I
being
thought. Yeah,
20
so
to
here
$21.
I'm seeing a a Saudi ad that says yes, general admission tickets, what translates to $20 US,
Hmm.
premium seating for 133, which if you've been to a WWE event, premium seating for $133 for the Royal Rumble is a steal. VVIP, two V's, very, very important person tickets were $400 US for the locals.
Okay. Okay.
So I do think, yeah, that aligns with kind of what I guessed is like it's a different thing because WWE's made their money, so then it's on essentially Saudi Arabia to fill it up.
Right. Well, I mean, look,
All that said, all this Vegas stuff, yeah, TKO's screwed it up. Like they are. There's no way around that. And hopefully they learn from it and things revert a little bit. Because we don't need WrestleMania being a permanent residency in in the United States anywhere. We lost our way a little bit.
Yeah.
Some things Vince McMahon kind of had a handle on. This
Yeah.
was seemingly one of them.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But that's what happens when you go from
private to
one
publicly
guy
traded.
running the company. Yeah, but even though they were publicly traded, it's still Vince is the majority holder.
Well, that's what I meant. I misspoke.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go from a private company to the company owned by. Yes, it's owned by shareholders now, and in a board, and it's owned by TKO. And no, I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%. And I also agree with you with the fact that like this. It just feels like we're trending in a very weird direction. And I'm not a fan. Like, I'm not a fan. I would love the idea of possibly going to Mania again. I just don't know when that would be. I don't know when that would be. I don't know how much that would cost.
I'm gonna tell everyone now. We're probably not doing Lariat Lounge live from Riyadh. I don't think that's in the cards, but we'll see. We'll see where we are in 44. Because that's 2 years from now, and who knows what's going to be going on in WWE.
Listen, I'll say this. This is a huge concession. But if we're not in the midst of World War III, A. B, if the Lariat Lounge is a huge wrestling podcast in 2 years.
I mean, we're already top 140, right?
We are, hovering in that mid 130 range in the US.
There you go.
If we break the top 50 pro wrestling podcasts, I will seriously consider it.
I think once we get this on video and people see your beautiful face, there's no chance. There's no chance.
There's no chance we'll make top 50. I think you're right.
No, there's no chance we won't be top 50. I'm going the other way.
Oh, dude.
I say we're going to have everyone tuning in to see you every week.
Well, look, you're going to be there too, brother. You're going to be there too in 1080p high def.
Uh-huh.
I mean, listen.
But look, we have buried this lead long enough. We have a box that's going to open here in 10 or 11 days, however many days that is. I think 10 from now.
Yeah, it's going to open. Listen, we talked about this last week. We talked about it last week. We let everybody know. And we'll just remind you right now, if you were not paying attention last week, the Lariat Lounge is going to a video format. You'll be able to see our faces every week as we do this podcast. Now, nothing is going to happen to your audio only podcast. You will still be able to get the podcast in all of the places that you get your podcasts. So no fret there. But you will also be able to get the podcast in video format on YouTube. You can already get the podcast in audio format on YouTube, but you'll be able to see our beautiful faces as we discuss the world of WWE, and we encourage you to come and join in and see us as we do our thing each and every week. And then, of course, Lariat Lounge live for the PLEs. That won't be going anywhere. Those will be still live on Saturdays when we have the PLEs, and Sundays as well when we have the two-nighters. So, yeah. This is a real pivotal year for the podcast. We are rounding the big 1 year old, and it's going to be fun. And I'll be in Milwaukee for Mania. So tune into Lariat Lounge Live then and check us out so you can all hang out. We can all eat pizza together and we can enjoy each other's company as we see what WrestleMania Vegas 2, they should have called it the sequel or something. Like, they should have leaned into the whole like movie aspect of things and just gone like the sequel or part deux. I like part deux. That would have been fun. But we don't even know what that card's going to be like. We know what the main event of night 2 is going to be like, but we're still filling up the Elimination Chamber to find out who is going to be challenging Drew for the WWE Championship. So SmackDown, we got who qualified? Cody beat Jacob and he beat Sammy. So, hey, listen, Sammy's influence can only go but so far. And, it's clear now that Sammy is not going to be at WrestleMania unless he gets into, he did. That was the chamber qualifier. Sorry, Sammy.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Sammy
they shut his paperwork down.
In the chamber. Yeah.
Yep. They shut that paperwork down. But Jacob is not going to be, Do you really think Jacob and Sammy are not going to be at WrestleMania?
Oh no, they'll be at WrestleMania.
Listen, I think Jacob will definitely be there. I have no idea what Sammy's going to be doing unless he is fighting no, wait, Trick's got a qualifier next week, doesn't he?
Yes, he has a qualifier.
Oh, please,
here in a few days.
Wrestling gods, please, if you're listening, let Tricky 2 times, let Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers, let Mr.
I think he's going to be in the chamber. I don't think we have to worry about that.
Listen, I am just saying they threw Trick out of the Rumble so daggone quick that, if you had got up and taken an extended bathroom break, you might have missed him. And that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but listen, I'd hope.
Hey, at least he wasn't during an entrance. We lost Brock Lesnar during an entrance, so
that's true.
Trick was doing pretty good.
That's true. Even though Brock did eliminate Oba, which, listen, the word going around is that Brock Lesnar may be wrestling LA Knight, and that seems weird. That seems like completely out of left field, and
especially since LA Knight's going to win this Elimination Chamber.
So, okay.
And maybe beat Drew at WrestleMania.
Okay. So, all right. We can need to dive into that because that I did not think about that at all. So, okay.
I've been speaking this into existence for 2 weeks now.
What, the LA Knight's going to challenge Drew?
Yes. This is LA Knight's time. I don't know. You've been here. You've listened to it. You booked out weeks when I spoke of this. So you need to go to YouTube and check out these past episodes like everyone else and remember us going through this.
Maybe so, because I'm struggling to understand. Okay. Anyway, if we get LA Knight winning the chamber and challenging Drew, what has been the setup for this? Like, is this just another one of those situations where it's like you have a random winner to the chamber and then that's the match at WrestleMania? Or have we been setting something up? So Cody's not going to win this chamber. He's going to get in there.
I think we maybe have Jacob get involved in the chamber and get in there somehow. I think LA Knight he was clearly at one point going through the vision, and that takes a little bit of a turn with Braun Breaker's injury.
Yeah.
But I think LA Knight is winning this. I really do.
Okay.
I think they're going to capitalize off the momentum from Unreal. They have a shirt that's essentially referencing that. I mean, he's wearing a shirt that says Unchosen.
I'm looking at it right now.
I feel like they're leaning into that. I think this could be his time. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's qualifying for this. He's winning matches. I think this is it. Granted, he lost a match this Monday, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think he's got some momentum. I think this may be the time they pull the trigger.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I guess I could see that. So then that means that the masked man is absolutely Seth.
I don't know who it is. Seth or Grayson Waller? Probably not, but
I'm going to tell you, boy, if Grayson Waller is the masked man, I think the backlash from the WWE universe is going to be palpable. That's going to be rough.
Everyone can listen. I've been in support of the masked man and the intrigue it brings. They got one more time with me, and then we got to pull this mask off. He can't keep getting away with this.
Listen, blame WWE security for being as lax as they are, because Brahman just gets into the arena every Monday, wreaks havoc, leaves, and they've not stopped a single individual, in investigating who this could possibly be. But I mean, the curb stomps all day, man. Like I don't know. I haven't been looking into it, what Seth Rollins' status is. But as I was scrolling through YouTube before we got on, I saw Seth Rollins had just done Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. And
did he? I thought did he do someone else's podcast too?
Maybe.
Because I thought I saw it. I did see the Shannon Sharp one.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, that's very interesting timing. Particularly if the man is not ready to go, you know what I'm saying? The idea that he would be out here doing interviews and stuff like that to where someone could potentially ask him a question that would give away the fact that he's not the masked man. That seems like something that WWE would want to keep a lid on if at all it was possible that
You're right. Well, and he's probably not doing this if he's not going to be relevant for a long time. I
right.
feel like they don't do that. People don't make these appearances when they're not going to be in the fold for a
I
while.
agree. I agree. And I think because of that and just the fact that the masked man is continuously curb stomping people. I feel like, it's one of those things where it's like if the mask comes off and it is Seth, it'll be the most anticipated reveal that we already knew. And that's cool. That's fine. Sometimes predictability is great in professional wrestling because you want to see something, you see the stars aligning for something, and then it happens. And that's great. I want it to be that. I want it to be that this curb stomping masked man is Seth Rollins. And, I think that works. The fact that now we've had Theory getting curb stomped and we've had Logan Paul getting curb stomped
Yep.
means that it's not obviously
We
Austin
have
Theory.
yes, we have taken out the possibility that it's either of them.
Yes. And so there's no one else that you would, if you introduce somebody else random into this equation now, I think it would fall flat. And so like, it's one of those situations where it's got to be Seth. And I think when you reveal that it was Seth, I think it's just going to be great. I think the crowd's going to pop huge for that. You can turn Seth babyface against Division and have him go through each member of the Division until Braun Breaker is cleared, right? And then you have that blow off whenever he gets cleared. If you wanted to save that for something big, you'd probably save it for SummerSlam, particularly because my man just had surgery like the other day. So he's probably going to be on the shelf for a little while because, you got a hernia like that. And it's like it's a stress strain hernia that he got from flipping that announce table, which by the way, I guess them tables were reinforced. I guess they weren't joking about that because I've seen people in WWE flip tables plenty of times and none of them ever got a hernia. And that's Braun Breaker. It's not like it was Michael Cole. So, shout out to the company that built them tables. They are built to last. They are Ford tough. But I think if he's out of surgery now and he's recovering, you can push that off till SummerSlam. So maybe we get the reveal of the masked man. I don't know. Would you do that prior to Mania or would you do that at Mania?
I think it's probably at Elimination Chamber.
That would make sense because we're ramping up his appearances
one more week,
a lot.
and I think he gets one up on Bronson Reed because we had the segment Monday where Bronson Reed's he takes care of the problems and the masked man's a problem. So I think he'll fail to take care of it this coming week, and then we get a reveal at Elimination Chamber.
That would work. Listen, that would make sense. That would make sense. And it would be in Chicago. And there's the sentiments between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. So, for Seth to come and steal Punk's thunder in his hometown would be a fun little wrinkle in their story. And we still have to visit that. You know what I mean? Like we still have to visit that story, which begs the question, right?
But before we move on from the chamber, how about Javon Evans?
Javon Evans qualifying for the chamber. He beat Dom and he beat Gunther.
Yeah.
To qualify for the chamber.
I did not think he had a shot of winning that match.
I legit thought that when that match was announced, Javon versus Dom versus Gunther for a qualifying spot in the chamber, I thought that they weren't going to put Gunther in there. I thought it was going to be Dom. I thought they were going to give us a swerve and it was going to be Dom going in there. But for it to be Javon, look, the company's got faith in this kid. And, he can do the job and he's really good at what he does. And, you listen, if there's somebody who's going to be in that chamber and is going to be doing some insane stuff in that chamber, it's going to be Javon Evans. It's going to be Javon.
I don't even know if I should bring this up. Did you
Bring
see
it.
the Kevin Nash stuff
No.
with Javon Evans? Oh baby.
Wait, hold on. Like a interview with Kevin Nash, or just Kevin
No.
Nash is talking
Kevin
about Javon?
Kevin Nash is talking about Javon and kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit.
Speak on it. What's up?
So let me find the quote
Okay.
that Kevin Nash said. It's not good. It's not good. I gotta find this.
The way you framed that, it made me feel like it wasn't good. So like that I'm already teed up for that.
Yeah, I love Big Kev, but this was a bad one. He's on his podcast. He's talking about Javon Evans, and he said I like the kid. He's a little bit too Mr. Bojangles for me. I
What?
wish he was a little bit more urban. I just want him to have a little bit of an edge.
Oh, Kev.
Not good. Not good.
No. You know what? I'm not as mad as one might think. This is just a sign of what happens when you have people who are somewhat out of touch with what the current generation sees as cool, what they resonate with.
He is still stuck in what was cool for him was wearing the do-rag and listening to Tupac and coming out to that
Oh yeah, Crime
in the
Time
90s.
was it for him. Like
Yeah.
Crime Time was it for him. And yes, that's exactly what I was saying, and I agree with you that he is what happens when you have someone who is generally out of touch with what the current cultural touch points are, right?
Yes.
Javon Evans, to me, is the person who, like, if my nephews were really watching wrestling right now in their early mid 20s, which they are, they would appreciate Javon Evans. They would appreciate Javon Evans. They would resonate with him in a way that I don't. And I resonate with Javon Evans. I like him. I like everything he's doing. But when he comes out and he does his thing and he's like, yeah, he's all on the screen, right? That reminds me of just something that like my nephews would like. You know what I mean? And it's like, because there's an audience for that. There's no reason why he would be getting over the way that he is. A, if he wasn't as talented as he is. B, he can work on the microphone, but his style and his presence is just all Gen Alpha. You know what I mean? Like it's all Gen Z, Gen Alpha. And it works. It works. And when you have somebody like Kevin Nash, who is Gen X, right? He just doesn't get it. And sometimes everything that is in your mind does not need to be spoken in public. Like I was just having a conversation with my wife about this the other day, that this internet, social media driven culture has put this idea that because you have the access to a microphone, because you have the access to a potential audience, and the fact that everyone is on social media has somehow taken the place of both your diary and your subconscious. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And it's like people will go onto social media to vent, which is what you should have been doing in your diary, right? But instead you do it online. Or your subconscious, where it's like you probably should vet those things before they come out of your mouth. But because it's your subconscious, there's no way to vet it. It's already online, right? And then you have to try to walk it back if it doesn't land right. But you've already put it in a space where it's going to live and exist forever, where people's opinions are going to be judging something that you probably should have refined, you probably should have vetted, or you probably should have never said out loud to anyone else. But you know, the pitfalls of social media, it is why I have just been so very conscious, Skeener, of when we do this podcast, what this podcast is, right? It is professional wrestling. We give our honest takes. We do real talk here. But I picked you to be a part of this podcast for the same reason that I chose to do this podcast in the first place. Because not only do I like you, but I think you're a smart individual. I think you choose your words wisely. And I want to cultivate an audience who also thinks this way as well, right? That when we engage with this product, when we engage with each other on social media and with others out there who are all over the interweb, that we don't get out here and just spew crazy thoughts and just say crazy things and just don't think before we speak. And now Kevin Nash is in, I don't know, the proverbial hot seat. Whether or not there's ramifications for this for him at this point, I don't know. Is Kevin Nash really that relevant anymore?
Well, I appreciate your kind words, but
Of course, man.
do you want to hear his apology?
Of course he's got a
that is
YouTube
somewhat
apology.
worse.
Oh, of course, because he's Kevin Nash.
It didn't go well. And again, normally I like Big Kev, but he's striking out on these.
Okay, well, give it to me.
This is I promise you. This is the apology tweet. This is how it starts.
Okay.
How often have you heard the term Uncle Tom? Most likely it was used in a degrading way. If you've actually read the literature, Uncle Tom was whipped to death for helping free 2 female slaves. I apologize for the use of the term Mr. Bojangles. It was in poor taste and obviously offensive. I just see talent being pushed in a direction that I disagree with. He should be the male version of Sol Ruca, more contemporary than urban. And here's the kicker. It's funny how I'm usually the only person who pays attention to the development of black talent.
Okay.
Kev.
Okay.
We just needed the apology part.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The apology part is obligatory, right? The apology part is obligatory. It is not corrective. I say that because oftentimes the YouTube internet apology doesn't actually correct course on anything. It is just the obligated thing that you've got to do when you step in.
Considering this one, the previous and following sentences kind of belie that he still does not get it.
No, and listen, he is in a space where he believes that what he said was justified and contextually appropriate. I get that, right? The thing with apologies, and obviously I'm not talking to you, brother, but like for the listeners out there, for some people who have husbands or wives, this is useful information, okay?
Yes.
The apology is not for you. The apology is for the person you're apologizing to. It does not matter what your intentions were. What matters is that you offended someone, okay? If you don't care that you offended someone, don't apologize. But if you care that you offended them, or you care that their feelings are impacting you, or you care about their feelings at all, you apologize. Not I apologize if what I said offended you. You apologize that you offended them, and you leave it at that. It does not help you to justify your position, right? Maybe it does.
That's not part of the apology.
That's not part of the apology, right?
And trust me, I was not smart enough to know this until my lovely, beautiful, smart wife talked me through this. It's part of growing up and learning, but now I understand that.
Yeah, and listen, it's harder for people who are famous to recognize these things because they've been insulated in a way and propped up in a way to feel like they are either the foremost authority on something, or because of their trajectory in life, they feel like they've done things right. And so what backs them, fuels their decisions and their choices on what to say is fueled by this sentiment that they are in the right. Sometimes you are and sometimes you're not. But the thing with offending people or saying something that is offensive, right, is that it doesn't matter really what your intentions are. It matters how it lands. If you don't care about how it lands, then you stand 10 toes down in this hailstorm and weather it. But if you do care, if for some reason the impact is something that you don't want, you apologize for your actions. That is it. Now, to the tweet itself. If you are someone who you would consider, or even to the extent that maybe others would consider, someone who is oftentimes one of the only people who are really paying attention to black talent, fair. But you need to have enough foresight to understand that you placing that in the midst of this apology does not make it sound the way you think it sounds. It just makes it sound like you are.
No, but you're right on the part that like that part is for him. That part is for him justifying his actions and making sure everyone knows he's not a bad guy.
Yes.
That's not the point of the apology. The point of the apology is to express regret that regardless of the intent, it offended people.
Right. Well, and here's the thing too. You would not have to defend that as vociferously as you tried to there if these sentiments and these actions that you say you carry are ones that we see. But this is the first time I'm hearing anything about this. This is the first time I'm hearing anything about Kevin Nash being a strong proponent for black talent in the industry. As many times as we've had conversations over the internet, right, about how WWE does not always do a great job with their black talent, right? I've never heard Kevin Nash's name come up in the conversation as a foremost champion of black talent. It's the first I'm hearing of this. And so this is not the right place for you to be putting your name in the hat in the ring as the proponent for black culture when you said something that has offended black culture. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the right place for that. Yeah. And then here's the last thing I'll say.
Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll close it out because we do have a Javon Evans response of sorts.
Oh, okay. Listen, I'll say this and then we get Javon's response. I also think that Kevin is wrong about Javon. So
absolutely.
I think that the idea of positioning him as someone who's more like Sol Ruka, right? Do we not recognize that Sol Ruka is... I don't even know.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what the hell that means.
I know exactly what he means. I'll tell you. What Kevin Nash is speaking to is a gimmick. He's speaking to this gimmick. That's what he led with, right? About this more urban thing. And you remember we talked about before about crime time and stuff like that?
Yes.
Sol Ruka is the skater girl, the quintessential California skater girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like when you say he should be the male Sol Ruka, why? Sol Ruka is a gimmick. Javon Evans is essentially just being Javon Evans.
Right, which is probably the best thing for him.
It is. Listen, as someone who has felt oftentimes that black talent in WWE specifically always had to play a role, right? Like either they were the rappers or they were the gangsters, right? Or they were the African or they were the tribal person.
The voodoo doctor?
The voodoo doctor.
Don't forget that.
You know what I'm saying? Like they always had to be the pimp. You know what I'm saying? Like they always had to be a particular archetype. Whereas you had other wrestlers who just got to be themselves turned up to 11. And Javon Evans is able to come into this just being himself. You know what I'm saying? He's more of himself than Obafemi is as the ruler. And I don't think Obafemi's really playing like the character of Obafemi the ruler, right? But Javon Evans doesn't even carry, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't carry his moniker of the young OG, right? By wearing a bunch of clothing that young people would wear. That's just his moniker and he's him. Obafemi comes out with the fur around his arms and you know what I'm saying? And the strut. It works for the ruler aesthetic and I'm not clowning on that at all. I think it's wonderful. But he doesn't have to do that. Trick Williams, who I adore and love, he has been sliding further and further into almost this like pimp aesthetic. So much so that like he got like the trick slap. Did you see that last week?
Yes.
I'd never seen him pull that out. I love it for his character. But at the same time, I saw that I'm thinking, oh, he's got a pimp slap now. And though I like it, I would, if it was me, I would caution against it just a bit. Because like once you lock yourself into these stereotypes, unless you are a particular type of strong talent, which I think that Trick Williams is, it's difficult to transition out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to transition out of it. And so if you have a strong talent like Trick Williams is, I think that he can evolve from this the way he evolved into it. And he can evolve into his next form whenever it's necessary. But Javon doesn't need that. He is an extraordinary talent, right? He is naturally gotten over with the fans. And he seems to be just being himself. His backstage segments seem to be just Javon being Javon. and it works. So let the man cook. You know what I mean? He's his first year in. He's not even been on the main roster for a year, and he's already in the Elimination Chamber. He's being set up for big things. I just think Kevin Nash was wrong entirely on this. But what did Javon say?
So we got a Javon post on Instagram, and it is a picture of him after, or well, it's a series of pictures, okay. But the cover one is they're all from the match on Monday that he won the qualifier.
Okay.
And the caption is just want to apologize real quick. I'm sorry for being the best in the game right now. Elimination Chamber about to y'all finish the rest. Hashtag the young OG.
Perfect response.
Yeah.
Perfect response. Address it. You know what I'm saying? Address it indirectly. You're not saying anything that is disparaging. You're not clapping back. You know what I'm saying? You're just kind of letting it ride. Listen, Kevin Nash, for as much as we all respect him, as much as some of us really, love him and stuff like that, I think Kevin Nash, generally speaking, has been an above board dude. So, no hate coming my way or coming from me. But he definitely came across here seeming like the old head in the room.
Correct.
And you don't necessarily have to clap back on the old head. It's just the old head. You just, okay, listen, my bad, dog, and keep it moving. And, I think he just handled it well. He handled it like a professional. And my genuine hope is that Kevin Nash, just like anyone, learn from this. You know what I mean? Like learn from it. Learn from how your thoughts should be vetted, how some of the things that you think should probably not be said aloud. And when you get called out on it, don't respond in a way don't respond defensively in a way that totally negates the point of your apology. The point of your apology was supposed to be because you were sorry for saying something that was offensive. It was important. Listen, the center part of his apology was right. If he took the first part of the apology and the end of it and cut it off and just had the middle part.
Right.
He would have been great, but his apology was sandwiched in between two breads pieces of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That it just made it into a shit sandwich and no one wants to eat that. So I don't know, Kev. All I can say, brother, is do better. Do better. And just let the young OG be the young OG. He don't need to be anybody else. He doesn't need to be Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka's doing her thing. But you know what? I'll say this. No disrespect to Sol Ruka. You know I like Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka is not where Javon Evans is.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You want him, you Kevin, want Javon to be more like Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka ain't headed toward no PLE currently. She's not going to be on the card for Elimination Chamber. We're just not seeing it. And so, I don't know, man. Just kind of let him cook. And you seem to have your eye off the ball a little bit, too. Because Sol Ruka is not even pulled up to the main roster yet. And the women's division need it. I've been wondering why they've been holding on to Sol Ruka for so long. But I thought that about Trick Williams, too. But maybe they needed a little bit more time on the rotisserie before, before you pull them up. And that's cool. Take your time, get your craft down so that when you hit the main roster, you hit. We see it did wonders for Trick, and not saying that Trick didn't have it, but that extra time in the oven for him to cook meant that when he hit the main roster, he landed. You know what I mean? And so she may need a little bit more time to cook, and that's cool. Let her cook. But if you're somebody who's not consuming the product for real, and if you're not really in touch with what the fans are resonating with, you would be a Kevin Nash. And you would see someone like Sol Ruka. And the only comparison between those two is that they're both flippy and they're both athletic. That's a crazy comparison to make. But
yeah, I didn't get any of that part. I was just shocked when I saw what he said, because that seemed like not something Kev would say. But when you explained it, he's just the old guy.
Yeah, he's just the old head.
Yeah. And then the apology, I'm like, don't do that, Kev.
Right.
Let's put the wine down, let it simmer for a couple days, and let's try again.
Yeah, look, he pulled the equivalent of, I can't be racist. I got black friends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Come on, man. Just leave it out. Just apologize. Move on, man. And listen, do I think this is going to be a huge thing for Kevin Nash? I genuinely don't.
It's not.
I genuinely don't. I think he just sandwiched his apology poorly, but it didn't come across like he did not mean it. He just tried to justify it in a way that just made it come across stupid. But, listen, if Mark Henry can say the dumb stuff that he said in the last 12 months and nobody has canceled Mark yet, like, Kevin's going to be fine. Kevin's going to be fine. Mark Henry never apologized. He never apologized for any of the crazy stuff he said. He meant it. He meant it. And, and listen, that was the other part of what I said, right? If you said what you said and you don't care that people got backlash, you stand 10 toes down, you weather that storm, and wherever you end up on the other side is where you end up. On one hand, you got to respect it. Even though I don't like what he said, it's like, okay, whatever happens, happens. And you down for it. But if you're going to apologize, if you're going to try to walk it back, then you just need to genuinely apologize. Don't do this half-hearted YouTube apology. Right. It never works. So we got Cody qualifying on Monday. We got Cody qualified on Friday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Cody Friday, Javon Monday.
And Javon Monday. So who do we got in the qualifying match this coming Friday?
Let me look that up because I am. SmackDown's always the one that gets lost in the shuffle.
So so Trick is going to be in it.
Yes.
But I don't know if they've even announced who is going to be in that qualifier. I wonder if Ray Phoenix is going to be in it.
I'm sure they have. It's Damian Priest, Trick, and Carmelo.
Okay. So we know who's not going to win.
Is your men's qualifier.
So we know who's not winning that. Sad to say.
Probably.
It's not going to be Carmelo because he's the current U.S. champ. And I don't think that he's going to win that and go also into the Elimination Chamber. But, anything is possible. But I definitely think, obviously, this is the first time that we're seeing Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes in the ring with each other since their days back in NXT after their fallout.
Yeah, this will be the first main roster thing, right? They didn't cross paths in the Rumble.
Yes, sir. No, they did not. And they have not crossed paths backstage. And this is going to be a really interesting butting of heads here.
That'll have some fun subtext.
For sure. And I definitely feel like the winner of this triple threat should absolutely be Trick Williams. I feel like he has got way too much momentum right now to have him lose to Damian Priest.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Or I don't think it would not be wise to have him lose this match.
No, I agree. 1,000%. So, I think he's going to go into the chamber. So that's going to make Cody's in the chamber, LA Knight's in the chamber, Javon Evans is in the chamber. That's it for so far, right? And then we'll get the fourth person on Friday.
Or the last. Yeah, well, and then we'll have one more on Raw because we've got 4 in there. There'll be 5, and then the 6th will be.
Okay, so who did I forget?
On Raw.
We got Cody. We got Javon. We got LA Knight. I must be missing someone.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not on my game today.
No, it's all good.
Randy. It's Randy.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Randy, Cody, LA Knight, and Javon Evans. So we'll get the 5th person on SmackDown, and then next Monday we will get the 6th person to join that.
Yes.
So, and they haven't announced that match yet, have they? Yes, they did. They announced it on Monday. Who that next qualifying triple threat was going to be. I just don't. Oh, because it's
it's Bronson, Jay, and
right,
El Grande.
That right, because I remember Jimmy talking about Jay getting in it, and Jay hasn't had a match yet.
Yes.
So El Grande, Jay, and Bronson Reed.
Yes.
Okay. So I am almost 1,000% confident, as you stated before, that the Masked Man is going to cost Bronson Reed his spot in the chamber the same way he cost the Pressure Theory.
Yeah.
In the chamber as well. And so it's not going to be Bronson Reed, and it's certainly not going to be El Grande Americano. So Jey Uso is going to be in the chamber. So if we go by that logic, then your chamber is going to be Cody, Javon, LA Knight, Randy Orton, Trick Williams, and Jey Uso. Any early predictions there? You said you think it's LA Knight.
I think
Knight's
it's
gonna
LA
win that.
Knight. I mean, because if it's not LA Knight, it's Cody, and I don't think we do Cody again. I really don't.
I don't think so either. I think that would be a bad move. I wonder if this sets the stage for Randy versus Cody.
Very possible. I mean,
You know what I mean?
That'd be a good one to do at Mania.
Like maybe it starts to lay the groundwork for something like that. Like, I don't know, like Randy eliminates Cody or Cody eliminates Randy. And
you still got to get around Jacob's involvement in this.
That's true. It's an interesting wrinkle. It's like how, so are we getting Cody? No, Cody's in the chamber. So yeah, Jacob is just such a weird wrinkle. He's such a weird wrinkle in this. And to be fair, like I still have not gotten over the fact that Jacob's beef with Cody doesn't make any sense. They're beef with each other.
Cody was beating him up. That's his beef.
Yeah. Okay. So fair. I understand Jacob's beef with Cody, but Cody's beef with Jacob makes no sense.
He ruined his match. He ruined his chance to beat Drew once and for all.
Cody could have won the match.
Yes, but the Cody Rhodes character is not a genius.
No, he's not.
He has more balls than brains.
He has more heart than a mind. And
they don't call him Brahim for nothing.
Very true. Very true. His brain is thinking about other things. And, that is why he is beefing with Jacob. So Jacob gets involved here. I mean,
probably,
okay.
I would say.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we like Cody's not the pick here. He's not the pick to go to Mania and challenge Drew at Mania. If LA Knight wins this, and I like this better if LA Knight goes and challenges Drew for the championship, because that means that LA Knight is not wrestling Brock. And I want Brock and Oba. And I need for WWE to deliver that to me. So yeah, I think we've already made our picks for Elimination Chamber here as far as the men. Then we're a little early.
I really think it is LA Knight.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Again, I don't know who else it's going to be. Because I don't think it's Cody, and then I don't think it's any of the other guys right now.
Well, yeah, listen, as much as we were just waxing poetically about Javon, right? They're not sending Javon to the main event of night one. You know what I'm saying? Of Mania. He's over, but not that quick. And I don't think they're sending Jay, not part of the tag team champs. So I think that's kind of those two are out. I don't see Randy winning this thing. I just don't. We revisit Drew versus Randy at Mania. That seems odd. This is the time, I think you're right, where it's like you go ahead and pull LA Knight's card. You pull his card and you send him to Mania as that person that's like, oh, I did not see this coming. But
I think they can do it, and they can judge the reactions he gets on the way to WrestleMania, and then they can make a call on whether it's the time or whether Drew just continues with his reign.
Yeah, I agree. You have time to figure out how you want to play that. And, Drew has held a title now for a little while, not long, but he's
a little over a month, but
he's held it long enough to where by the time we get to April, if he drops it, he won't.
Well, he'll have held it over 4 months. He'll have held it over a third of the year. So
right, so he won't look like a real like transitional champion.
Yeah.
So no, I think that wouldn't be bad. When it comes to the women, so let me back out of this and let me go back to SmackDown. Whoops, that's not SmackDown.
SmackDown was Alexa, Julia, and Zelina.
Yes, and Alexa qualified.
Yes.
Okay, well listen, Zelina. We said this last week. Like Zelina was not winning here.
No, despite her stealing her husband's entrance, she's trying.
I didn't even watch that. So she did Aleister Black's entrance
without a board. She did sort of like a bridge, like she crossed her legs and leaned back and then sat up.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, essentially, yeah.
yeah. So that's what she does in front of Alistair when they come out together.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm yeah. No, she wasn't going to win this. She wasn't going to win this.
No, but how about more confirmation that someone in that writer's room is listening to us? And I said I missed the Alexa and Charlotte odd couple character segments, and we got a great Galentine's Day segment
Oh,
with Charlotte giving Alexa the gifts.
I missed that.
Yes, Charlotte asked Alexa to be her Galentine and presented her with gifts. One being a picture of Charlotte herself to
Great,
Alexa,
nice.
signed by Charlotte, but signed to Alexa. When Alexa was like, "It's signed by you," she's like, "Yeah, to you." And it was, yeah, it's a fun little segment. It's not that long, but it gets back to what I found was what I thought was fun about it.
Yeah,
Is Charlotte just being oblivious and she thinks she's doing this the right way, and it's just, not quite, but she's trying.
yeah, yeah. And listen, they needed to get back to that, and it looks like they're doing it. So listen, WWE writers room, it's clear you're listening to the podcast. So you heard what I said about Trick. That's all I'm gonna say. So Julia,
Alexa's in, and then yeah, Julia.
Julia is
Julia's there. She is a member of the roster.
yeah. This is
Is there anything else you got to say?
not really. I think
Okay.
the jury is kind of in on Julia. And listen, I'm squarely putting Julia right now in the Shinsuke category. That's not a disrespect to Shinsuke. It's if Julia is happy with the position that she is on the card, then I'm happy for her. But whatever hype she apparently came to the WWE with, it just has not translated, you know what I'm saying, onto the main roster. And she's just not landing for me. She is not landing for me. And she's not really being put in a position to really shine. I look, when they took the US title off of her, that to me was her opportunity. And when they put it back on her, I was like, okay. So we're not moving anywhere with you. You're going to stay in the mid-card US title scene, and you're going to leave the spot for someone of your caliber of talent. You're going to leave that to the EOs. You know what I mean? Because like,
I mean, she just hasn't found the character niche. Like, she
yeah,
really just hasn't. Like, and that's what it comes down to. You got to find that. The being really good in the ring will only take you so far.
absolutely.
You got to connect. And I will not accept the language barrier as a reason, because let's go over to Raw and who qualified for the women's chamber in Asuka. Asuka hasn't spoken 20 words in English on the main roster in like 2 years. And her promos are great and entertaining. And she connects with people and people love it.
This is true. That you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. And that's the thing. I think it's interesting you bring that up, because Julia fits in a lot of ways in the same archetype that Asuka does, particularly with how WWE is going to view the Japanese talent and how they position them. You're not going to be able to really shine in the same spot as someone else, not in American professional wrestling as a Japanese superstar. Like, you're going to have to be in your own lane. It's why EO can be EO, because EO is the high flyer and Asuka is the brawler, and Kyrie currently is the sidekick. But I think that if Kyrie was not with Asuka, I don't think she would really have a spot. I think she would have a spot that's similar to...
It would be tougher for sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be much tougher for her. And I think Julia just fits in the same kind of slot that Asuka fits in.
And I don't want to say it's over, because it maybe took Kyrie a while on the main roster too to like figure out that niche and find the character and how it sticks. But we'll see.
Look, I think Kyrie has a better shot now at splitting from Asuka and riding the momentum of what her character development has become with Asuka into a somewhat viable singles run. Like, do I think
Yeah,
she's
for
going
sure.
to?
They keep teasing it.
Listen. They teased it on Raw, and I believe it was like Asuka just walked off after telling
Yep.
Rhea that she wasn't ready for Asuka in the chamber, and Kyrie was still behind, and Io went to say something to Kyrie.
Well, that's what was funny. She just goes like the very sad worry. She's like, "Oh, Kyrie,"
Yes,
and then immediately it's Oscar Kyrie.
yes,
Just the dueling, the difference in them was funny to me.
dude. It was the right beat to strike at that time.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking to myself when I was watching that, if that scene had played out exactly the same way, and then after Asuka yelled for Kyrie, and Kyrie leaves the frame, if Io had that same look on her face and kind of turned to Rhea and said, she doesn't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? Like, those words would have said what Io's face said, which is that, like, she doesn't deserve that. And I think you're laying the groundwork, like we were saying, right, for this eventual breakup between Asuka and Kyrie. And more so with Kyrie leaving Asuka. And
yeah, the seeds are there if they ever want to pull the trigger.
yes. And listen, this is one of those things where, unlike other storylines, I think this one will get better the longer you let it marinate. Like, they don't need to pull the trigger on this too soon, because Kyrie is not landed as like the superstar that the fans are really getting behind. And so the longer she's in this situation where she yo-yos between like these feelings of like she's always on edge and she's always in fear of Asuka, but then you turn around and she's helping Asuka again, it just leads more into this almost like abusive relationship thing. And the longer it
Yeah.
goes on, the longer you can have other characters notice it, play off of it, and then you build to this momentous moment where Asuka needs Kyrie to help her and Kyrie doesn't help, or Kyrie walks off. And then you'll get the crowd to erupt, right? And that's where you can build Kyrie. And then Kyrie doesn't have to go back to being like the Yoho Sailor girl. She can be her own person and branch off into something new and build off of that, because Kyrie's talented. And she just has not landed in a way that really sticks on the main roster. Like, we were talking about this, I think maybe last week, about like how people leave NXT, hit the main roster, and what made them really pop on NXT does not register with the main roster. And
Yes.
part of that is due to how NXT, as like this homegrown stationary brand, builds a framework of support around their wrestlers, because you have a local audience that comes to all the shows. But when they make that jump to the main roster, those same things that were local favorites are not necessarily received that same way by a international, global, or even state by state audience. And I think that the pirate princess just was one of those things that was just like the other indie acts in NXT that got over. And then when it came to the main roster, it just did not hit the way it did for NXT. And then Kyrie got released, and then she came back. And for a while, Kyrie was doing something slightly different, but she didn't come back with the fanfare that would warrant her coming back and really being like super embraced. But this storyline that she's been in with Asuka and Io over the last year or two has been the most engaging work that, in my mind, Asuka has been a part of since her main roster call up. And this is the prime real estate for her right now. She needs to stay in this and just milk it and milk it and milk it, and get the fans to really get behind the idea that you need to leave her, and then make it a real emotional, pivotal moment where she leaves Asuka to her devices. Asuka comes back and she's rip roaring mad. And then you can have multiple different ways of how you play that. right? Either Kyrie can stand up for herself or maybe Kyrie doesn't, and Io stands up for her. That's how you keep this whole thing going longer, right? You branch off to a feud single style between Io and Asuka, right? And almost essentially for the soul of Kyrie. Like it writes itself. And I don't think that WWE doesn't recognize this. So it's more conversation that I've had about Kyrie Sane than I have in the entire time she's been with WWE. And I think that's a good thing. That just means that they're doing something right. And honestly, Skeeter, these are the things that I truly enjoy about professional wrestling, right? It's not always the stuff that's on the marquee. It's not always the things that are at the top of the card. It's the storytelling, how you tell stories. When you tell good stories, you build characters. And when you build characters, you give people something to latch on to. This is what makes WWE, in my opinion, right? The show wouldn't be a show if you did not have stories in them. They'd just be house shows. So, look, good on them for continuing this as long as they have and making it work.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm going to tell you what.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say what.
Because I was going to pivot.
Please pivot. I was about to pivot too.
I need you to explain to me why we did a segment where Stephanie made Liv cry.
Okay.
Because I don't know what the heck happened.
Well, they did apparently the translation is on WWE.
I was there. Okay. Well, so I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they said it later in the episode that the translation of what Stephanie said.
Okay, I must have missed that.
Is on WWE. Now I haven't looked at
that. From either last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, Liv has learned Spanish since then?
No. So in that segment, if I'm not mistaken, Dom was translating.
Okay.
Dom was
That's
translating.
The part I must have missed then.
Yeah, he would say something like every so often back to Stephanie, but he was translating in Liv's ear.
Okay, that's the part I missed that I guess probably made it make less sense.
Yeah, and it made Liv cry. And so I'm looking at it right now. I don't see here on WWE.com where it's posted the translation, but that's certainly what Michael Cole said, that the translation was posted online.
Well, let me see if I can find this. Because this matters. This obviously changes, but I didn't know what was going on in the moment.
Yeah, I would like to know what it is that Stephanie said, because it's pivotal to this story. It's pivotal to this story. And it was obviously way too much for Michael Cole and them to, really speak to on air, because that segment was long enough.
I'm confused at what the point was. Like, why are we making Liv somewhat sympathetic here? Because, it'd be different if, everyone hated, all the fans hated her. And we're like, yeah, we want to see this person we hate get what's coming to them. But, the fans kind of love Liv. And, making someone they connect with, cry by being so mean to them, that, is almost playing a little too much of a sympathy angle, I think.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know if what Stephanie was saying to Liv was mean. That's why the translation matters. Because if you take it that way, then yeah, I agree with you 1000%. But it depends on what Stephanie said to her. Because Stephanie may have just said something to her that got under Liv's skin. And that is not different at all to how feuds are built. You know what I'm saying? In any other angle that WWE would run. But, until we see what it is that Stephanie actually said to her, we won't know. But I know it did set up what, in my mind, is a foregone conclusion. That Liv is going to pick Stephanie to challenge at WrestleMania for the Women's World Championship. That seems like a foregone conclusion at this point. You've just done too many segments between the two of them, too few segments between Liv and Jade for me to feel like Liv is going to challenge Jade. Even though last Friday
they did show up.
They sat out there at that table and ate chicken nuggets.
Yep.
And I thought that was freaking awesome. Chicken nuggets, according to Wade.
So I did just go through and watch the segment with the translation.
Oh, okay. So what was she talking about?
And at this point, I'm confused at why, after all the other things, like this of all things made Liv cry. So I'm gonna need. So Stephanie essentially just talked to. She started out. She was like, you know what, Liv? WWE gave you everything. You didn't earn that title. You were given it. You had the best training, the best access to all this stuff in WWE. I came from Chile. Wrestling doesn't even exist in that country. I fought hard to get here. I wear this title for all the women and little girls out there that think they can't do it. And it's a disgrace that you have to hide behind the Judgment Day and hide behind a man. And you need to pick me at WrestleMania and you won't win. And there was nothing overly like crazy. So I'm like even more confused now.
Okay, so I feel like I am less confused because I can see how you could work this, right? I don't think it was very illuminating in the sense that you see it, right? Which is there was nothing that was there that was like overtly insulting or degrading or demeaning, which honestly, I think that would be kind of flat anyway. But I hear you. That's not there.
I just think having your baby face at this point make someone else that the crowd likes cry is a weird place to go unless you're going to try a double turn.
I see what you're saying. I don't think that's necessary here. I mean, when we talked about it last week, I would be totally down with the double turn, particularly if Dom was part of that turn, right? But you don't necessarily have to do that, right? You could play into the idea that all of this made Liv emotional and made her cry because Liv does not see herself that way. That Liv doesn't see her as someone who had this handed to her at all. That Liv had to come here and she had to work her way out of the shadow of the Judgment Day. And not shadow of Judgment Day. She had to work her way out of the shadow of the Riot Squad that she toiled right on the roster as member after member of her original stable were released, right? And she struggled in the mid card for a long time until she worked her way up. She organically got over with the fans, and Judgment Day came after that. And to characterize her as someone who didn't have to work for anything, to say that she's somehow not an inspiration for people.
Yeah, isn't that something you do to a baby face? That's where I'm confused. Like,
wait, hold on, wait.
I'm trying to
understand what you're saying. You're asking
this whole thing is they have painted Liv as like the mean girl, and like if you're trying to like dig underneath and show like, oh, let's relate to and lay bare her insecurities and things. That's like a very babyface thing to do to her, I think.
Oh, you mean like if WWE were to move forward with the way that I just laid stuff out like that?
Yeah.
So, okay. I think two things are at play here. One, I think you could play at a quote unquote reality here, right? Which is the sentiment that Liv may carry about herself. The other thing that's at play is the idea that Liv is a tweener. And we talked about this last week too. Not necessarily with Liv, but just the idea of it, right? Liv is the traditional tweener. She is not the good guy, but the fans love her. That is traditionally what a tweener is, right? And I don't think that you have WWE necessarily treating her like a face, but it would be nice if WWE did kind of move away from these locked in archetypes, right? Where the good guy is always good, the bad guy is always bad. That the good guy only says the things that are morally upright. And when he's challenging his opponent, right, he's tough. She's strong, but she's not like insulting. She wouldn't demean them or make them cry. Whereas the bad guy is the heel. They're the villain. They're the nasty person. It's always going to cut low, and they're always the person who takes shortcuts and, and all these things. And you have these shades of gray. Those are always the most compelling characters, right? The hero who does immoral things, but he believes that he's doing the right thing, right? That's not too dissimilar from the villain who believes that they're the hero of their own story, that they're doing what they feel is right, but they're doing a bunch of villainous stuff, right? One person has to play the role of the good guy, and one person is playing the role of the bad guy. But there's so many shades of gray here, right? Cody, for all the things that he does as the traditional face, right? How many times have I remarked about Cody cheated? Cody cheated to win that match. He cheated to win this match. He took advantage of this ref. He took advantage of this situation, right? These are not traditional face moves, right? Cody plays the character of this super appropriate baby face, right? But Cody is not above taking advantage, doing something underhanded in order to win a match. And I think that shade of gray is maybe where we're playing at here with Liv. She is a traditional tweener. She is the heel on paper. She is the heel in her act, but the crowd loves her, and she's not just rotten to the core. She's got redeeming qualities, even if she's not a redeemed person. And that is what a tweener should be. And so I think the idea of Liv crying, having a baby face making her cry, plays to this idea that she may be like, you're playing her almost like she's a face. I think you're just treating her like she is a person, right? And the crowd is going to respond to her however they do.
And I'm just saying that's like, this is the first time we've really gotten a hint of that, I think. At least with her character's actions.
See, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And I'm wondering at this point how much ancillary aspects of WWE play into how WWE positions a character. So what do I mean by that? Charlotte Flair, a couple years ago, was positioned as a heel. That was a position she played on the card, right? After the WrestleMania debacle that was Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte goes and does that Players Tribune article, right? Crowd sentiment changes for Charlotte. WWE did not necessarily take the Players Tribune article, even though they referenced it. They didn't take it and just like throw it into her character bio for her to be talking about it, right? To be referencing it all the time. But it definitely influenced how they took her character in a particular direction, right? How they used what the fans were feeling based on this ancillary thing, and they tied it somehow into the character's development. So Liv recently did Stephanie's podcast.
Yes.
And did you watch that?
I've seen clips. I haven't watched the whole thing.
So I watched that in full. And Liv is going through this period in her life where she is, I don't want to say questioning her legacy, but she's questioning what she's going to leave behind when she's done and the impact that she's having. And came off of the heels of her shoulder injury, right? And how she's had injuries before and she's bounced back quickly. But this one, for some reason, it took her out longer. And it played with her mental. And she just started thinking about all the things that she had sacrificed over the years. And was it worth it? The time she's missed away from her family. You know what I'm saying? And it really weighed on her. And she teared up and cried like twice during that interview. And she was just really in this space where you could tell she's genuinely vulnerable. Like she's questioning a lot of things. And if I were to apply the same logic that I applied to Charlotte to Liv, it's possible. We don't know. We're not in the writer's room. But it's possible that WWE is taking some of what is real life, what is her name? Gianna Daddio. And they're placing that into what they can stir up for the Liv Morgan character, right? Maybe you're thinking a few steps ahead that, yes, she's the heel now, right? And the fans love her. If the fans love her and they watch that interview, they know this about her, right? Maybe like where her feelings are, where her insecurities are in her life right now, right? So to have somebody like Stephanie come in who is just super accomplished wrestler around the world, right? Say these things to her. It speaks directly to this vulnerable aspect of Liv, that underneath this shell of like the girl who is boisterous and super confident and, you know what I'm saying, and arrogant and all these things, that underneath it, she's fractured. And you've got somebody who's speaking directly to this. And see, Stephanie can still be a face. She can still be facing the situation because she doesn't have to know that the words she's saying are cutting as deep as they are, right? So she can be saying these things in the way that anybody would say when they're sizing someone up and challenging them, to WrestleMania. People always throw barbs and words back and forth, right? That's part of the game. But maybe to Liv's character that they're bleeding her real life into, it cut deeper than Stephanie ever realized it did. And we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, at this point, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan is going to be the match that happens at Mania. Like, they have not done anything to this degree with Liv and Jade, even though they've kept that presence there to kind of keep the ambiguity up. Like, her eating chicken nuggets next to the ring with Dom for Valentine's Day has nothing on this backstage segment. You know what I'm saying? With Liv and Stephanie. Nothing.
So yeah, we're getting the big Liv Morgan face turn this summer.
Probably.
When she is featured on the next season of WWE Unreal.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all.
That seems like it lines up very well.
Yeah.
Because they haven't featured her yet. It seems like she'd be a good feature, and that all that stuff you just talked about coming into play there probably makes sense if they're looking ahead that way.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like we were saying, right? After these segments, it seems like a foregone conclusion that we're going with Liv and Stephanie. And probably, listen, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Liv Morgan beat Stephanie at WrestleMania. Like, Stephanie Vaquer is new to the main roster. She's got time, and she's obviously over, right? For one reason or another, she's over. And she'll get better on the microphone. Her English will get better, but she's able to carry herself even with English not being her primary language. So she's going to have a place on this roster. And WWE has faith in her, obviously, or they wouldn't have put the title on her and had her hold it for as long as she's currently been holding it. So you could put it on Liv and give Liv her real crowning moment, right, at WrestleMania, as you are one of the women that we are very confident in putting you as the face of our company. And the story, the feel-good story writes itself. I think it just works. And there's so much meat on this bone because you still have all the stuff with the Judgment Day, right? That can branch off of this. Like, it just makes sense. It wouldn't make sense for them in the last minute after Elimination Chamber for Liv to somehow pick Jade. That would be wild. That would be a really wild decision to make. And honestly, when it comes to Jade, so she beat Jordan Grace last week. And I believe last week on the Lariat Lounge, I was on the record saying that I would love for Jordan Grace to win the title here. But it didn't seem feasible that was going to happen, which is fine. But seeing as how she did not win, right? You've got to look at what the Elimination Chamber currently looks like for the women. You've got Rhea, you've got Asuka, you've got Tiffany Stratton, you've got Alexa Bliss, right? I don't know who we've got qualifying next. We've announced those matches, I'm sure.
And so on SmackDown, it's Charlotte versus Nia versus Kiana James.
Okay.
And then on Raw, it is Io versus Raquel versus Kyrie.
Io versus Raquel versus Kyrie. Io versus Raquel versus Kyrie.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
So I'm not even going to entertain this. I think Rhea is not going to win the Elimination Chamber. I think her place currently is in this story with her and Io and the Kabuki Warriors. I think that the person who's going to qualify in the last match, and I think we said it was Kyrie and Io and who was the third person?
Raquel.
I think Raquel's going to win that. And Kiana James is not winning in that other match. Who is in that? Kiana James and
Charlotte and Nia.
Okay. So unless Nia is getting in there, like I don't see why you put Alexa in there and not Charlotte, because you've been doing this friends thing for a long time, right? And I feel like the obvious next step here for them, because it doesn't seem like they're currently in the tag team championship picture. I think you put them both in the chamber and they have to come to blows and one of them eliminates the other, right? We had that happen at the Rumble, right? Who eliminated who in the Rumble?
In which, who are you talking about again?
Between Alexa and Charlotte.
Did that happen? I think Charlotte may have like accidentally sort of caused it, but like I don't think it was direct.
Sure, okay. But she was instrumental in the elimination of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, I think.
I would position, if I was booking this, I would position Charlotte to maybe take someone else's finisher, right? And have Charlotte laid out and have everybody else laid out except for Alexa. Or maybe, and like Alexa then, opportunistically takes the pin on Charlotte. But then that would mean that she would purposely have picked to eliminate Charlotte over the other people who are laid out. So maybe you have a situation where Alexa gets knocked out on top of Charlotte and the pin happens and Charlotte gets eliminated, right? And then you can further whatever tension you do with them outside of the chamber. But I don't think Alexa or Charlotte wins the chamber, right? So if you were to take those two out, you're left with Asuka, Rhea, Tiffany Stratton, and Raquel. That's if Raquel gets in, but I think Raquel's going in. I don't see Asuka winning because whoever wins is going to have to go up against Jade. I don't want to see Rhea. And I don't want to see Tiffany.
I mean, I still think it's Raquel for all the reasons we've talked about the past 2 weeks.
I agree. I agree. And you know what the crazy thing is? If it's Raquel, do you have Raquel challenge Jade? Which I think that would be the bad story decision. Do you have Raquel challenge Jade? Or do you have Raquel add herself to this match with Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan?
It would be interesting. I don't know if that's allowed per the rules.
Well, now what's the rules? The person who wins the Elimination Chamber gets to pick the champion.
Obviously, there are no rules. Do they? Because I'm seeing it's because as soon as Roman picked Punk, like Drew started talking like, well, now the winner of the Elimination Chamber has to face me.
That's what Drew's saying. But the Elimination Chamber doesn't say that the winner of the Elimination Chamber has to challenge the remaining champion.
No, but it doesn't say you can pick anyone either.
Listen,
it's just
you know. I
mean, it's whatever they want it to be in the moment.
It is. It really is. But we've also haven't heard WWE say anything about the winner of the chamber challenging Jade, right? We haven't heard the announcer say that. WWE hasn't said that. As a matter of fact, when it comes to
only because we still don't have a decision from Liv. This is true. That's why that hasn't been said.
Well, I mean, have they said that? Is WWE not Drew?
Yes, they've said the winner of the men's Elimination Chamber faces Drew at WrestleMania.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then it would then stand to reason that that's the same for the women. And if that's the same for the women, then if Raquel wins, Raquel would challenge Jade.
Unless you do Charlotte and Jade.
You could.
Which you have to at some point. I mean, we'll figure it out here next Saturday. I think after Elimination Chamber, everything for WrestleMania is going to be a lot clearer, necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we just got to hope there's no more injuries. Like, that has been the tail of the tape here for WWE, And look, here's another thing. So this Finn Balor CM Punk match seems to have grown so much bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Well, they've put enough story in it where it's now not just about the result, thankfully, which is good because the result's kind of a foregone conclusion.
This is true.
So now it can be more about Finn and how he reacts and feels about himself going in and coming out.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could definitely go that route where this is more about Finn finding Finn Balor again.
It seems to be what they're playing at, especially after Monday.
Oh, listen, I agree. Because, I mean, listen, you're not going to quote unquote jeopardize the main event at WrestleMania. But then again, I'm also thinking this may be just me playing devil's advocate. You mentioned that a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned it a whole lot about jeopardizing the main event at WrestleMania. You also had Finn Balor coming out and making that promo talking about how he's the best in the world because on his first night on the main roster, he beat Roman Reigns. Like, there's no reason to bring up Roman Reigns. He's not the benchmark for CM Punk calling himself the best in the world, right? So why else would you bring up Roman Reigns as being your part of your criterion for being the best in the world? Unless Finn Balor is also going to be in that match.
There is just absolutely zero chance. Absolutely zero. Like, I mean, obviously not zero, but like as close to approaching zero as we can be.
Without going full zero.
Yes.
So there's still a chance.
I mean, maybe at Backlash, but not at WrestleMania.
Listen, if they were to follow up on this at Backlash, I think that would just be kind of odd. So maybe you just kind of walk away from it, and this leads into a whole different thing with Finn. And Finn, maybe, I don't know, leaving the Judgment Day or finding his own way. I would love to see after all of this, Finn kind of get into a position where he's taken more seriously on the roster. And, he since stopped coming out to his Judgment Day version of his music.
Yes.
So,
I mean, he's not long for the Judgment Day.
No, he's not.
Pretty clear.
He's not. And there's a lot of people pointing fingers within this feud about how the Judgment Day is an anchor around your, around you, dragging you down. And yeah, I don't think he's long for the Judgment. In fact, you know what's probably going to happen? He's probably going to, how he held JD back and stopped Dom from going after Punk, right? What's probably going to happen is Elimination Chamber is going to come around. He's going to tell the Judgment Day he's going to handle this on his own. He's going to go out there. He's going to be wrestling this match against Punk. The Judgment Day are going to get involved, and they're going to cause him to lose.
I think so, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's likely.
And it's going to speak directly to what Punk was saying about him, that the Judgment Day are dragging him down. And you can either go into a feud with Finn and, either Dom or JD, or you just have Finn just leave the Judgment Day. And, but that makes so much more sense than Finn somehow continuing this and going into Roman and Punk's main event. That just makes more sense that the Judgment Day is going to come out here, get involved, cause Finn to lose, and validate everything that Punk was saying about both Finn and the Judgment Day. That makes the most sense. And sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. But I'm looking and I feel like we pretty much touched on everything except for
absolutely not.
Well, what did we not touch on? AJ Lee and Becky.
Absolutely not. I mean, it was what it was. It didn't advance anything.
Yeah, that wasn't really all that great. What else are we missing? Natty and
No. So let me preface this with a little story, and I promise this ties into where we're going.
Okay.
So back during COVID times, where we had the Thunderdome, and everyone pretty much, we had a lot of people working from home.
Sure.
Me and one of my buddies, James Dorsey, we posited that Vince was also working from home. And he'd book the shows by about 30, 40 minutes before airtime. He would get in the Google Doc of the run sheet and just make the changes he wanted.
Sure.
And I think Vince got back in the doc because we have a crate that is due to be opened no sooner than February 28th, which happens to be Elimination Chamber.
You know what's in the crate.
Adam Pearce had a large crate delivered.
Yep. And it was addressed
from an unknown source.
And what was, do you remember what the address was on the crate?
I'll just look it up.
The address
I remember
of that
it says
was something ridiculous.
So yeah, here we go. It just says delivered to WWE.
Yep.
Do not open until 2/28/26, which is Elimination Chamber.
You know what's in that crate, right?
I have no idea what's in the crate.
Oh, I know exactly what's in the crate.
This is like the egg all over again.
This is greater than the egg. I know what's in that crate. And why I say I know, I don't know, but I know what's in that crate.
What's in the crate?
It's not a what, it's a who.
And as we know, anyone that comes out of a box is instantly over.
Oh, listen, the person that's in this box is already over. They're very much over. This person is in this
So
box,
you, so you're
debuted in
saying
WWE in
so
Chicago.
is I don't remember who you're talking about, but
This person
are
who's
you
in the
saying
crate,
Joe Hendry is in the crate?
negative. The person
Negative.
who's in this crate, we really, really, really bought into the idea that they were going to be at the Royal Rumble.
So you okay? I would
Yeah.
love if he came out of a box.
I listen, I think that box is going to get wheeled out at some point in the middle of Elimination Chamber. And who's going to come out of that box?
Bam Bam Bigelow, just like
That would be
MBS wanted in the Rumble.
disgusting. Do you know if that box opened up and Bam Bam Bigelow's corpse fell out of that box?
Well,
Well, no, sir. I think it is the
and the
Ayatollah
box is too small to be Kali.
of rock and roller. I think
I
it
would
is the
love it.
manager of the list. I think it's the El Campeon. I think it's Chris
Of
Jericho.
all the things he's done, he has. I do not believe he's ever come out of a box.
I
So,
don't recall him coming out of a box, but that box is going to
there you
show up
go.
on SmackDown.
Got to check it off the list.
Yep, I think that box is going to show up on SmackDown. And I always forget the Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is going to see that box, and he's like, "What is this? Where did this come from?" And that same guy who delivered it, right, is going to be like, "Adam Pearce sent it over from Raw," and it's going to say, "Don't open until what's it called? Don't open until Elimination Chamber, right?"
Chamber. Yeah.
I
the date.
think that this box is going to then travel back to Raw, and then it's going to go back to SmackDown. And they're both going to be like, yo, I don't want this freaking box. And then they're going to send it to Chicago. And that box is going to show up in Chicago, and the lights are going to go out. And I don't know if it's going to be Break the Walls Down or Judas or something new. I would prefer something new.
I think it'd be a countdown in Judas, but that's just me.
I mean, you could blend that. And because it's Jericho's band, right? You know, AEW doesn't have the rights to that. So I could
Correct.
see that. But my also thought is that Jericho is a legitimate musician, right? If you know musicians, dude, they got songs in their stash, right? He pulled Judas out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And it became his theme song. I think he's got records, and he's got something that does not break the walls down, is not Judas. And it will be something new for his retirement run in WWE. I think it'd be great to mark his eras. You know what I'm saying? From his transition era from WCW to WWE was Break the Walls Down. His AEW era was Judas, right? His retirement era is something else. He's got the library for it. If it were me, that's what I'd do. And I think it's cool. He makes good music, right? Like, I think that'd be dope. And he owns the rights to his music, so he's getting paid all the time. So, and WWE technically owns Break the Walls Down. So,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, if he's going to already profit off of Judas, you come back to WWE where you're now taking a cut off of that. You don't get to make money off your music anymore. Like, I don't know if WWE could let him use it, but he'd have an easier time with WWE if he just brought his own, another song that he does. And it'd be hot. And I think it would just signify this next evolution for Jericho. But I don't disagree that the countdown is I think the countdown will absolutely be there. I think that box should be wheeled out, and then the lights go out, and then you hear the countdown, and the crowd's gonna freaking go ape. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever music plays.
I would love for it to be Jericho. I'm not sure if it's going to be, but I want it to be.
Well, it's not the gobbledygooker.
But I have no alternate ideas.
Yeah, well, listen, it's not Repo Man. It's not gobbledygooker. It's certainly not Kali.
I do not believe it is Bianca, because she just had surgery. I saw she was posting things about she was starting to do some rehab the day after surgery.
And listen, and now that leads me to another thing, because if Bianca just had surgery, which honestly, good for her. I'm glad that she's at a place where she can have surgery, but that also means we are getting no Bianca Belair for WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's out of the question.
Yeah, that's out of the question.
Literally, it was 2 days ago she had surgery.
She's out of, and listen, if she had a finger break that was that bad that has kept her out for this long, you're not gonna have a surgery like a few days ago and be good for Mania. So it's gonna be some recovery time on that. So
What about the idea that it could be Danhausen?
I
I've
heard
seen
somebody
that
say
thrown
that
around.
online. I feel like it might have
And
been
it could be,
Simon
and
Miller.
it could be Benito. It could be Bad Bunny.
I heard he was planning on making a comeback.
Shipped straight from the Super Bowl.
Listen,
They packed him up and sent him over.
they sent him right over. Listen, you might as well. You're already on the continental U.S., so no need to go back to Puerto Rico. Dang, I was about to say something.
I desperately want it to be Jericho. I really do.
Yeah, I would like for it to be Jericho too. I would like for it to be Jericho too. I was about to say something. I feel like Simon Miller had positioned that it could possibly be Danhausen. Maybe Danhausen. But I mean,
that character would fit more coming out of a box. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just wonder how over Danhausen would be.
He will get a pop in Chicago, which is why it seems like a more possibility.
Listen, I have no doubt that he would get a pop in Chicago. Listen, you should have debuted Royce Keys at the Elimination Chamber. You should have debuted him on. Listen, it's not a good sign that we have not seen Royce Keys since the Rumble. We have not heard a word about him since the Rumble.
Well, there have been words. He has been smeared online by Dave Meltzer and other cretins.
Well, I mean, of course, you know what I'm saying, the garbage pail kids are going to spew trash.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
So I guess there may be some controversy that he's a few years older than people think he is. I'm sure that is not news to WWE. Sure, they know how to perform a background check.
Absolutely, driver's license.
It's funny that all this stuff comes out, right after his debut in a company they are not as fond of.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, listen, they're called the dirt sheets for a reason, right? Like, Dave Meltzer is so irrelevant at this point, right? Like, it's just he reminds me of like the old man who screams out the window at cats. Like that's what he strikes me as. It's like nobody pays attention to old man Meltzer over there. He just sits on his porch and screams at cats for drinking milk. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. Just fall back. Like, nobody cares about what Dave Meltzer has to say. But when it comes to Royce Keys, though, like, he has been persona non grata. You know what I mean? Like, on WWE programming since the Rumble. I don't know what the deal is backstage, but he had a whole name change. So he's under contract. It's not like he just showed up as a guest spot. He's here. And we have heard nothing about him since the Raw after Rumble. The Raw after Rumble, they showed him in the promo package, but they haven't spoken a word about him. We haven't seen him on programming at all. Now, I don't know if what WWE is thinking. I have never claimed to, but I will say this. It's the same thing I've been saying since we watched the Rumble. I feel like they would have done him a better service had they not had him debut in Saudi Arabia. You just cannot gauge how the crowd is going to receive him because that may not be the same crowd that consumes AEW. You know what I'm saying? WWE is a global product that has a proven viewership in certain parts of the world. I don't know if AEW has that. I don't know if WWE was even cognizant of that, right? But for what it's worth, I think him showing up in the Rumble was only good if you utilize that in his push that was imminent. But the fact that we haven't heard or seen him since the Rumble, right? To me, it just reinforces my original thought that if this was going to be the case, you could have just debuted brother on a Raw or a SmackDown. You know what I mean? You could have debuted him at the Elimination Chamber. But like to do it then and not follow up on it at all, whatever opportunity I feel personally that came from him being in the Rumble, which was simply for him to debut in the Rumble, so that you have that to build to whatever you're about to do with him, and you're not doing anything with him, you've just wasted it. You've just wasted it. And when he shows back up again, I don't know if it's going to hit the same. It can't. Because even though we weren't over there in Saudi Arabia, the American viewers were watching it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a surprise anymore when he shows up. I think it was just a poor decision overall. And in retrospect, it just looks worse. But what do you think?
It's hard for me to tell. I mean, obviously, what we've got is not good, but they've had so many injuries that, like, what if he's supposed to debut somewhere and get involved with someone that had to be moved to someone else because someone else got hurt? I don't know. It's all been so disjointed. But judging just on what we've gotten, yeah, it hasn't been great.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reasoning is.
Well, and that's the thing. I think that the bad part about it, Skeeter, is I don't think the reasoning matters. Like when I laid out what
Yeah.
I laid out, it didn't have anything to do with the reason why they debuted him there. It's just the fact that they did, right? And it's like, let's say your scenario that you laid out was true, because it could very well be, right? Even if that were to be the case, you blew his debut load in a place where it did not garner what it could have garnered for him had you just waited and done it over here in the States. You would have at least gotten that pop. You know what I'm saying? You would have at least gotten that pop stateside where his name and likeness would have rang more bells than it did. But, you know, that was the decision that WWE made. And like I said at the time, however I feel about it, if he himself is happy with the way that that went down, then I'm happy for him. I just think that it was a wasted opportunity. Powerhouse Hobbs was a big enough name to where if you debuted him with the right crowd around, you could have gotten a pretty decently sized monster pop. And I think they just wasted it. And with no follow-up, I'm struggling to see how you bring him back around and it not feel like an afterthought.
It's definitely been disappointing, that's for sure.
For sure. But, you know, when it comes to Elimination Chamber, we will get more updates on what's happening this Friday. And Monday, we will get the remaining people in all matches. And like Skeeter said, by the end of next week, it'll all be laid out. We can make some real predictions on who's going to win. And the road to WrestleMania will be paved for us because there's no more stops after your Elimination Chamber to Mania. So my hope, my genuine hope, is that whatever it is that WWE is cooking up based on what they had to work with, that it works out for the benefit of all parties involved, the viewers, WWE, and TKO, because these dwindling ticket sales, the kind of muddling of the waters when it comes to these stories based on circumstance, it just shapes up to me, and this rounds it all back to the beginning of the pod today, that WrestleMania 42 just feels different. Like it feels different, and it just feels like it's a little off kilter. And you know, you couple that with these poor ticket sales, like it's just an interesting build up to WrestleMania. You would hope that the hype would feel more resonant, more palpable and powerful midway through February, with the last stop on the road to WrestleMania imminent. And it just does not feel that way. So maybe we do something like we put over a LA Night in the chamber, because I think something like that would absolutely revitalize some people who are curious as to what the rest of the card is going to be, because they're looking forward to that feel good moment. And you can give it. And LA Knight, I think, it would be the right person in a place like Vegas to win his first big championship on the main roster. So we'll see how it plays out. You know where we'll be. We'll be right here on this podcast. Oh, wait, what's that? You don't know where to find this podcast. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Skeeter, please let them people know who just asked me where to find the podcast, where to find the podcast.
The Lariat Lounge is coming at you once a week, every week on all your favorite podcast platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever your shows are. That's where you'll find us. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. And as always, feel free to hit up the inbox at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
That's true. And listen, in the next few weeks, we will be on your screens. You'll be able to watch this on your TV, because the Lariat Lounge will be going to a video format in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. This is episode 48. So we're rounding third here. And we'll be in your faces real soon. So just keep an eye out for us on YouTube. We'll be in all the places. You can see us all the time. It'll be really fun. Skeener, your big takeaway this week from wrestling before we wrap up.
I'm just glad Vince is back in the dock and we have a crate. Sometimes you got to go back to the classics. An arm wrestling contest, a box, a spelling bee, anything. The classics hit like nothing else.
My takeaway from this week is not just for wrestling, but for people. Let's just remember that the internet is not your subconscious, okay? The internet is not your diary. Please do yourself a solid. Learn from your Uncle Kev, okay? Don't embarrass yourself online because it's one small flub for you. It's one snafu for you. It's one lack of thinking moment for you that will last on the internet till the end of time. And people will never forget until you do something else. So I would just not put yourself in that position. It takes a little bit of time. And by a little bit of time, I mean just a deep breath, just a thought, measure your words before you speak. I understand it doesn't come out as 1x speed, but it will help you out tremendously. And if you ever do step in it, just sincerely apologize. Don't preface it. Don't give it prerequisites. Don't pre-qualify it. Just apologize. If you really feel like what you did has harmed others or you in some way, just apologize. And I think you'll be better off than what you'd be if you were Mr. Nash. But that's another episode of the Lariat Lounge, folks. We appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with us. We'll be right back here next week for another episode of covering WWE content. From your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens, this is the Lariat Lounge. Please watch yourself on the way out.